guys, standingsimmer here today, and welcome back to the channel for another speed build here in The Sims 4. So guys, just heads up for you right here, right now, it has been a while since I felt motivated to build anything, since I felt inspired to build anything. The inspiration build-wise has kind of been lacking here recently, so I apologize for just kind of the general lack of builds. I explained a couple of weeks ago, I want to say, in an apartment renovation that I did, that I was kind of feeling that lack of motivation, especially because of the upcoming updates to The Sims and the upcoming pack, and that this anticipation of new content for some reason left me feeling like I couldn't build all of a sudden because I was just waiting for the new stuff to come. And then on top of that, I've also, well actually more as a result of that, I put my Building Up Windenburg series on hold, and for a while that was giving me a lot of motivation to build because I had like a directed purpose. So it's been a while, long story short, since I just like kind of got over here to my computer and started building something kind of out of my own brain. Obviously last week I did post a collab video that was with Simmer Sand, and if you didn't check that out, you definitely should, because it was a really cool old spooky looking Victorian build. So something I never really done before, which was cool, but that was a collab. I had a directed purpose, right? It's difficult for me here recently to just build out of nothing. I feel like I have to have a reason to be building, which sounds crazy because you think that YouTube would be enough of a reason, because I like to put out speed builds on the channel. But that's just a long story short to say that I actually somehow managed to cultivate the inspiration to build something over the weekend, this past weekend, by the time you guys are seeing this, that is. And the reason I decided to set about building this house is because I needed a home for a new current household that I'm playing over on Tumblr. Now I'm not going to talk about them too much in this video. The main reason for that is that you will actually be seeing a current household video come up on the channel later this week. So I don't want to spoil too much of what's going to go on in that, but really all that you need to know is that I have a main sim who I'm playing as my founder, and then she has two children, a boy and a girl. So long story short, I really kind of wanted to cultivate this house with 3 bedrooms and then with like a bathroom or 2 if at all possible. And I really wanted them to live in a bit of a secluded area, but I also, because this family doesn't have a lot of money, I really wanted to cut down on the amount of money that I put into this house. So I was kind of thinking, brainstorming, trying to get my thoughts together, and what came to me is it's been, oh gosh, several months ago now, on her channel, my friend Emily over at Emmy Sims, which if you guys don't know about her, you should definitely go check out her channel. But she built a big old home for a founder of another legacy challenge that she was playing over on Twitch, and she built it in kind of like this family fixer-upper style. So the idea is that you put together a house, but like the interior is a little trash, it's a little bare, it's definitely not up to par as to what you consider to be like regular living conditions for any family, at least for too long. The idea is that your family moves into this house and they've got some work to do. You know, they're not just like riding, you know, high and dry as far as, you know, their interior goes, as far as how the house looks. They have to kind of put some work into it in order to make it their own. And so kind of branching off of that type of idea for a speed build, I was thinking I really want to put together something for this family that they can kind of work at over a period of time. That's really kind of the fun of these types of builds for me, is that would enable me to build something that was kind of cheap, like on the cheaper end of things, but that also I could kind of like put some effort into as far as making it their own over the course of time. So that's kind of the general idea of what we're doing today here, guys. It's kind of weird. I, though, really like the way that this house turns out. I wasn't like 100% sold on it by the time I like got around to the landscaping, because I was like, oh, I don't know if this is a dumb idea. The landscaping, especially in the backyard, was looking a little on the messy side of things. I also, of course, hadn't built anything too much like this in a while, so I was kind of questioning myself. And I was actually speaking to the same Emily and then another friend of mine, Gina, over on Discord at the time, and Emily was like, you're probably just looking at it too hard. Like you're probably just been staring at your screen for too long. I was like, you know what, you're probably right. And then of course coming back today, the next day, I really like the way that this house turns out. So my perspective has completely changed on that front. Because I mentioned earlier that this is a bit of a budget build, and I actually moved my testing sim onto the lot and gave her 50k simoleons, and I was like, okay, gonna try really hard not to exceed that budget, and I did actually succeed in that, surprisingly. So when it all comes down to it, this house, now we're not talking about including the value of the lot. So sometimes when I'm doing budget builds, I do include the value of the lot, just because then it's like as pure and as honest as it could possibly be. However, I did not do that in this particular case. That's funny, guys, like right here in this moment, I just got my 10,000 steps on my Fitbit because I was like waving my arms around. My wrist was just buzzing kind of violently just then. But yeah, guys, 10K, not 10K, gosh. Okay, 50K simoleons will get you this house. Again, not including the cost of the lot, but theoretically you could put this on any 30 by 20 or larger lot. And, you know, regardless of the cost of the lot, the house itself will be worth less than 50K simoleons. So again, just a disclaimer, the exterior of this house really doesn't look as trash as the interior does. There was a particular story I was kind of trying to cultivate with this house, and that kind of is like what I'm about to tell you. I imagine that this house was probably built by I would say like a middle class type family. So they're wanting to live fairly comfortably. They build a house out here. I'm building in Brindleton Bay, so let's just go ahead and carry with that storyline. So they're building out here in Brindleton Bay, and they've put together like what I would consider to be like a dream house, right? And then something happens. So either they took out too much money on their loans, maybe something tragic happened and all of a sudden like they couldn't make their payments, and whatever resulted in this happening, the bank foreclosed on this house. Again, if things get that deep in The Sims, in your game it might not get that deep in The Sims, but in my game it does sometimes. But so the bank foreclosed on the house, the family can't live here anymore, and so right now the bank owns the house, right? But as a result of that, and the fact that the house has probably kind of been on the market off and on for a period of time, some vagrants have moved into this house, and they've kind of not kept the interior as nice as it could be. And then of course on top of that, they also aren't really keeping up with the landscaping, because do you ever know a vagrant to actually keep up with the landscaping? I think not. So the landscaping's a little bit on the messy side. Right now it's looking really, really put together, and that's because I didn't want to mess with the landscaping too awful much when I got this family into their house. But long story short, like I said, the exterior isn't quite an accurate representation of just how messy the interior gets to be. So what I was thinking was that when I moved my family into this house, that the exterior really wouldn't have to be touched too awful much. There's a possibility I'll clean up the landscaping a little bit and definitely add some things to the backyard, like skill building items or just activities in general. But I was really more picturing the inside of the house to like really need my full attention, and that is definitely the case, guys. Speaking of outside versus inside of this house, the funny thing about this house that's probably unique to any other speed build I'd ever done is that the exterior of this house takes way longer on the video than the interior does. So this video, like prior to the screenshots, is like right around the 17-minute mark. A full 11 minutes of that is exterior. So if that gives you guys any idea as to what the division of labor is with this house, then there you go. But just in case for some random reason you're not as much keen on exteriors as you are in interiors and you really want to get to that part of the build, then like I said, around the 11-minute mark is about when I transitioned from the exterior into the interior. But again, I was really just wanting to devote a lot more of my attention on the exterior and really putting it together and making it look decent, because I knew that once I got to the interior, the furnishing would become a little bit more sparse, both because that was kind of the vibe I was going for anyway, and because I knew I was going to be running out of money. So I was trying to put a lot of detail into the exterior. To be honest with you, I really have no idea what the exterior shape of this house, like where the idea came from. That turret part, I did actually get inspiration from that, again, from Emily. She's like the highlight of this video. She built a Cinderella inspired house here recently on her channel. She's kind of doing this really awesome series of like Disney inspired builds and things like that. And so in the Cinderella house, she had a house that did have a turret on the side, and I was thinking about that when I built this, because I don't think I've ever put a turret on a build. I mean, call me out if I'm wrong on that, but I really don't think I ever have. And so I was like, okay, let's do a turret, and then I want like a really nice porch area, and I want it to sit far enough in the front part of the lot so that there's still a really definite backyard area going on. And so I was just really trying to put some detailing into the exterior of the house once again, because I just really didn't want to mess with it too much when it came time to moving my family in here. And so like I said, we'll get past the exterior and then move into the interior, and things just kind of go to pot. Like they just really start to look super messy. And guys, I do some really cool things that I enjoy doing in a build, because it's not something you get to do every day, is just completely trash a build, and that, you know, you don't normally think that something looking that trash is okay, especially in a speed build realm. But got to do it on this build, had a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys like it as well. But guys, there is another thing or two I want to talk to you guys about here as we're kind of just moving on through the build itself. And that is that, like I said, the family that is going to be inhabiting this house, and actually currently in my game has just begun inhabiting this house, we will be doing a speed build, not a speed build, gosh guys, We will be doing a current household update on them later on in the week, so if you're curious as to what that is, this is actually a family that's not just a current household, it's actually my Tumblr current household, and some of you know already that I do have a household over on Tumblr, but I'm planning on sharing more details of that once again in the current household, so stay tuned for that later in the week if you want to know more about that and how you can kind of like get a hold of their story and watch it on a regular basis and kind of see this house featured later on. But another thing I really wanted to chat with you guys about is the release of some really cool exclusive Sims camp type footage here just early in the week. So guys, this video is going out later in the week than it typically does. Normally I try to upload on like Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, right? That's kind of like my general working schedule. It doesn't always end up exactly that way, but I've actually been doing okay kind of keeping to that schedule. Like it's kind of a thing, right? I kind of consider it to be a thing. But I think I'm going to be uploading this build on a Wednesday instead, because on Monday of this week, as a lot of you probably know, we had some, like I said, some footage released from the people who were able to go to Sims Camp, and that was last week. So these folks got to preview the new Get Famous pack and kind of go over various aspects of the new pack, whether build buy and cast and gameplay and the new world and all this really cool stuff. So as a result, that content releasing on Monday meant that like there was just such a massive influx. I'm recording this on Monday right now, just for the record, so if my verbiage is a little strange, then that's why. But today, when all those videos went live, at least today for me, when those videos went live, like there was just suddenly this massive amount of content. My watch later list is so long right now, I can't even tell you. Like that's not a problem. That's actually a very first world problem. Like I realize that's not an issue, but it is a very long watch later list. I'm sure that a lot of you are pretty much the same way if I had to take a guess. So in reality, I just didn't want to like throw my build out there and like just clutter up your feeds even more. I know that there's a lot of really cool stuff to watch out there right now. And so I really wanted to give us all time to kind of process that new stuff, process the new content, and then move on to like somewhat regularly scheduled programming, quote unquote, before like some new content starts to come out in the coming weeks, which I'm so excited for that new pack, guys. I cannot even tell you. I am so ready for my Sims to be able to delve into both a new world, just for one thing, but also new aspects of a new career and just the new gameplay features that the celebrity system is going to allow. I haven't seen a ton of videos on that specifically just yet. I know that the people who brought back footage from the game changers who brought back footage from Sims Camp kind of captured a variety of things, so you have a lot of options when it comes to like, you know, exploring build buy and create a sim. I've watched a lot of those kind of videos, but then the gameplay videos are like a little bit more scarce. And there's maybe only like 1 or 2 videos that I've come across so far that deal directly with the celebrity system. Like there are a couple of videos I've watched that have kind of barely just touched on it, but then that's the extent of it for the most part. But guys, regardless, I'm so excited for this new pack, as I'm sure a lot of you are as well. You'll actually have to let me know in the comments how excited you are for the pack. I mean, there's a possibility that some of you might not care the least little bit about this pack, and that's totally fine. But if that's the case for you, definitely let me know, because I definitely like to hear what you guys think. But personally, I'm very, very excited about this pack and all the new stuff that it's going to provide, mainly because obviously I love building. Like that's what we're doing right now. I really enjoy building. I have to be in the right mood for it, but I do like to build. But then at the same time, I also love gameplay. Like gameplay is probably my greatest love in The Sims. I mean, I would be very sad if you told me I could never build again if I had to pick between building and gameplay. But when it really comes down to it, I like to play the game. I like to create stories for my Sims. I like to play challenges and legacies and cultivate really amazing, interesting, sometimes intricate, sometimes very simple, but just stories. I like that aspect of the game. And of course, that's what gameplay allows you to do. So really, if it came down to it and I had to pick between building, greatest sim, gameplay, all that kind of stuff, it would have to be gameplay. Building would be a close second, but I do really like the gameplay. So as a result of that, I'm just so excited for all the new opportunities that this new pack is going to provide. I know that the idea behind it probably isn't everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally fine. I mean, we all kind of want different things, I think, when it comes to this game that we love so much, whether or not you actually play the game for yourself, as far as just content goes in general. I know that we're all really looking for a lot of different things. Like we probably all have a wish list of things that we would like to see come to this game before it reaches its conclusion. I'm definitely not an exception to that. I do have my list of things I would like to see, but when it all comes down to it, new content is new content, and I'm excited for it because of that reason, and just for what new opportunities it will allow for just my gameplay. I'm very, very excited about that. Now, I don't know if this is something that you guys have been thinking about, or just to like, you know, put it out there so that if you guys would happen to wonder later on, then here you go, here's my answer. But I'm really not planning on doing anything like an LP or anything like that for this particular pack. I do plan on incorporating the elements of the gameplay into my current LP, the Family Dynamics Challenge. I don't know how yet, because the next generation is supposed to be kind of a hermit, but we'll figure it out. But all that aside, I am so excited to incorporate it into my Not So Berry family, into this new family I'm playing over on Tumblr, into my Let's Play family, but no new LP. I really don't think I can handle anything in addition to what I am right now as far as content goes on the channel. But I'm really excited also to be exploring everybody else's LPs. Honestly, one of my favorite things about getting new packs is seeing what other people come up with story-wise with their own gameplay. That's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. So yeah, you guys will have to let me know if, one, you're excited about the new pack, two, what elements of the new pack you're excited about the most, and like how are you going to, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself between now and November 16th when this new pack comes out. I know that time will pass quickly because we went through the same thing with seasons, and I was literally counting down the days until seasons came available. But yeah, right now it just feels like that's a very, very long time away for me to have to wait, but we'll get through it, guys. We will get through it. But yeah, guys, I've kind of just rambled all through the interior of this build, but long story short, there are 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, as I mentioned. This is available on my gallery, so if you want to download it, you can do so under my user standingsimmer or under the hashtag standingsimmer, and download link should be in the description if all goes well and according to plan. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this really cool family fixer-upper type build. Really cool exterior, if I do say so myself, and a really messy, junky interior, but it's all in the process. If your Sims are looking for a bit of a project, a bit of a fixer-upper, then I feel like this will probably be the house for them. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you're having the best of days, and I will see you very soon. Bye!